It's really a pleasure to see you in person, and I know we have some people following online, and it's a real privilege to celebrate our 30th anniversary in this beautiful and historic building in Tbilisi. I want to say a few words first about our friendship, our relationship, and then I'm anxious to hear your questions and have a little discussion, I hope. 30 years ago, Georgia regained its independence after nearly 200 years of domination from Moscow. During these often difficult years, the people of Georgia have persevered and overcome many hardships to establish Georgia as a modern and democratic state, built on the foundation of its European history, dating back to Colchis and the birth of Western civilization. From the beginning of its regained independence, the American people have stood with Georgia in solidarity with Georgians' desire to be a free and sovereign country. Since then, the United States and Georgia have developed into strategic partners, working together toward a shared vision of Georgia fully integrated in the Euro-Atlantic family of nations and part of a Europe whole, free, and at peace. This is a vision we know that takes hard work, patience, and significant resources to realize. And over the years, the United States has allocated almost $6 billion in assistance funds to Georgia, in addition to other forms of support. We have been very privileged to support a remarkable number of successful initiatives with Georgian partners who are determined to see their country reach its full potential as a strong, independent democracy. In the early days, U.S. assistance was primarily humanitarian, as you just mentioned, including food and medicine, as we helped Georgia weather the fighting and the mass displacement in the 1990s and handle the transition to a market economy. As the situation stabilized, we adjusted our support to meet the priorities identified by our Georgian counterparts. We began to provide development and economic assistance to help Georgia establish democratic and free market institutions that are essential to promoting and safeguarding prosperity and human dignity. As Georgia has grown and matured as an independent state over the years, U.S. assistance has changed as well. Much of our assistance these days is less obvious than previously because Georgia has the ability to provide for its country's needs. Our role has shifted over time to being more behind the scenes, working with Georgian organizations, including the government, civil society, and companies to achieve our shared goal of a strong, prosperous Georgia. While both of our countries have seen significant political change and turnover throughout the years, our strategic partnership has remained strong and unshakable, largely because of two critical factors. First, there's the close and natural friendship of our two peoples, a friendship that predates Georgia regaining its independence. The first American visitor to Georgia that we know of arrived back in 1804. That launched a friendship between Americans and Georgians that is incredibly rich. It's represented by George Kennan's travels in Georgia in the 19th century, the Gurian horsemen and women in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show, William Osgood Field's travels in Georgia in 1929, John Steinbeck's visit in the 1950s and 60s, and of course, Benny Goodman's unforgettable concerts in Tbilisi in 1962. We see it in the love of Georgia and America by renowned Georgians like George Balanchine, George Kobe, Prince Machiavelli, and Alexander Kartveli, who thrived in the United States, but never lost their tie to Georgia. Not to mention, of course, General John Malchaz Shalikashvili from the United States Army, who went on to become the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff in the United States. These ties are also exemplified by philanthropists like Bob Walsh, the Seattle entrepreneur who brought hundreds of millions of dollars of investment to Georgia and helped fund operations for children in desperate need. Georgians and Americans are natural friends in part because we have so much in common: a love of freedom, of family, of faith, of helping others to prosper, as well as an appreciation and respect for diversity. When I travel around Georgia, I often meet people who have spent time in the United States, sometimes through one of our many exchange programs. It's so heartwarming to hear their stories about their impressions of America. Many are still in touch with their host families, and many say the experience was a turning point in their lives. And maybe that's true for some of you here tonight. And of course, our wonderful Peace Corps volunteers have played an important role in connecting America and Georgia for years. Since 2001, more than 500 Peace Corps volunteers have lived in communities throughout Georgia, making long-lasting friendships while teaching English, working with NGOs, supporting economic development, and partnering in local projects. One of the earliest and strongest areas of cooperation is between our two militaries. The first official visitor to Georgia was William Tecumseh Sherman, who visited Georgia in 1872 as the commanding general of the United States Army. Many thousands of visitors later, our security relationship has grown into a close and enduring friendship. Our soldiers study together, train together, sit down to supers together, and when necessary, fight together. The United States has supported Georgia's efforts to modernize and strengthen its military. And we're very proud to see the impressive progress the Georgian Defense Forces have made, as well as the Coast Guard and the Border Police. The American people have invested over $1.5 billion in helping Georgia strengthen its resiliency, defend its borders, and support its territorial integrity. But our relations with Georgia are far deeper and broader than security cooperation alone. That's why we do so much with Georgian partners to stimulate the economy, diversify energy supplies, improve the education system at all levels, and strengthen Georgia's democratic institutions. The United States cares about Georgia's progress because we care deeply for the Georgian people, and we believe Georgians deserve to achieve your goal of being a full-fledged part of the transatlantic family. Which brings me to the second critical factor underpinning our strategic relationship, our shared democratic and free market values that make us natural partners in this very complex neighborhood. Americans admire Georgians' willingness to fight to protect their independence, their homeland, and their unique culture. Americans and Georgians share a love of liberty and a desire to live in a democracy where basic human rights are protected. These are the values of Queen Tamar and her assemblies, of Sultan Saba Orbeliani, using his diplomatic skills to promote Georgia's future in Europe, of Ilya Chavchavadze, regarded as the father of the nation with his visionary reforms. These and other great Georgians understood that the institutions developed to reflect and protect those values are the key to freedom, prosperity, peace, and individual dignity. This democratic tradition led President George W. Bush to praise Georgia as a beacon of liberty when he visited in 2005. Georgia's European roots are deep and strong, with a clear path facing west. More than 100 years ago, Noe Zordania declared, "Our road leads to Europe." Similarly, Ilya Chavchavadze made clear that Georgia's European integration is fully compatible with respecting Georgia's culture and traditions, and that strong, independent institutions protect liberty better than strong-minded leaders with big personalities. Georgia's long history of regaining independence and sovereignty against invaders continued after the fall of the Soviet Union and remains the goal today. That determination is why the United States stands with the people of Georgia in your effort to uphold our shared values despite a complicated geostrategic environment and adversaries who use coercion and aggression to try to undermine Georgia's independence and sovereignty. As strategic partners, Georgia and the United States have also proven very effective at countering regional and global threats and challenges for our mutual benefit, whether keeping the Black Sea open and secure, or preventing the flow of illegal drugs and weapons, or breaking up international crime networks together. The United States understands that our global network of alliances and partnerships is our greatest strength, and Georgia is a valued part of that network. That is why the United States supports Georgia's membership aspiration to join NATO, where allies work together to promote peace and our collective security. It's how both of our countries preserve the way of life that we cherish. Georgia, including under King David, has long sought mutually benefit relations and parties and partnerships rather than empires. Georgia and America have both learned that we are stronger together. Our vision for the next 30 years and beyond is an optimistic one that promotes peace, a healthy democracy, and prosperity in the region. But it faces challenges that need to be addressed today. Georgia's economy is struggling to offer sufficient economic opportunities to keep many of its most talented citizens from leaving at a great loss to the country. In addition, Georgia's political, legal, and governance institutions remain underdeveloped and fall short of meeting its democratic ideals, stunted by a highly partisan and polarized political environment. As we have seen recently in many countries, impartial democratic institutions are the best defense against autocratic tendencies and those who will do almost anything to hold on to power. Georgia's history shows these short-sighted tendencies are incredibly dangerous and risk much of the progress made. An autocratic Kremlin is determined to use its full array of power to foment confusion and deepen divisions, with the goal of undermining Georgia's sovereignty, unity, and stability. Especially while Georgia fights against the occupation of nearly 20% of its territory, the people of Georgia need to stand strong and united to face down their external enemies. Russia's aggressive, destabilizing behavior is not limited to Georgia, as we've seen. We face a resurgent, revanchist Russia intent on reinstating its empire by establishing a privileged sphere of influence. Russia has consistently violated bedrock principles of European security, despite its own commitments to uphold them. By stark contrast with Russia's disrespect for Georgia's culture, faith, language, and traditions, the United States, Europe, and Georgia have a common vision of shared prosperity, freedom, and dignity based on mutual respect. While together we face many challenges, we have significant opportunities as well. Most importantly, the people of Georgia and the United States are broadly united behind our shared values and efforts. For 30 years, the United States has been very proud to be here in Georgia at the request of the government and the people of Georgia, working together to strengthen democracy, to grow the economy and jobs, and to address geopolitical challenges. We are proud to have earned the confidence and friendship of the people of Georgia. There is a deep reserve of trust and respect that has developed over the last 30 years as we've navigated the difficult transitions Georgia has gone through together. That trust and respect is precious to us. The United States has a huge interest and desire in seeing Georgia fulfill its transatlantic destiny. 30 years. It's a long time, and it's also just a beginning. Georgians have seen Soviet oppression of your language and church collapse. You've seen thieves-in-law terrorize average citizens and send the country into lawlessness. You've seen peaceful revolution in 2003 and peaceful transfer of power in 2012. That is real progress. Many important reforms have been implemented with calls to maintain the momentum for the reforms needed to build a modern, prosperous, inclusive country on the solid foundation of Georgia's unique culture, faith, and traditions. Throughout all of these turbulent times, the United States has supported the people of Georgia. Over the coming years, the United States pledges to stand with the people of Georgia to support our shared values and strengthen the institutions necessary to protect them. We want to continue to work together to stimulate and diversify Georgia's economy, to create better jobs and more opportunities for Georgians. This is a shared vision that makes both of our countries stronger, more prosperous, and more secure. We are proud to look back at 30 years of remarkable progress working together. And we look forward to celebrating Georgia's achievements as close friends and strategic partners for many years to come. Zala Ertobashia, Didi Madloba. Thank you.